and welcome to an Only Scott 32. Lucky you. Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody. It's currently November 24th. Holy shit, has this year gone quick. My gosh, I cannot keep up. This year's just like flown by. So much stuff, all sorts of ups and downs. I'm sure a lot of us have had. Hope everyone's doing well. Everyone's doing good. It's coming to Christmas, which is cool, but expensive. That's always the thing about Christmas when you get older, is you realize it's an expensive time of the year. But hey, you know, smiles all around. I do enjoy Christmas, but it has overheads. You know what I mean? I, for one, am, I guess, kind of lucky. I don't have too many younger siblings to buy for in that. Though at the same time, that's kind of fun though as well. I think, you know, Christmas is fun when there's kids around. You know, we're an adult. It's more like, oh yeah, here's the, like, you know, this present or voucher, and you know, here's this thing. Cool. All right, sweet. Let's drink. You know, where's the grub? And then yeah. It's way better when you're a kid. Well, for me, it was awesome. I hope everybody gets to experience. Hopefully, everybody who's listening got to experience a great Christmas when they're a kid. But as I've gotten older, it's definitely not as fun. Yeah, I'd say. Anyway, distractions as always. Before I get into actually what I want to talk about. So at my work at the moment, I've been kind of doing a lot of. How would I say? I've been kind of like building a marketing agency, and I've been working a lot on sort of defining business services, website building, website development, working with graphic designers, working with business owners, things like that. And I kind of thought, like, you know, I was kind of thinking about podcast ideas, and, you know, because I'm kind of doing these on my own now, I'm kind of thinking like, I really, you know, with a lot of focus on music on this channel, which I still want to do, like I've said before, it's really cool, but I think it'd be cool to also branch out, you know, as I've also said before, to try and, you know, kind of look at some other things that I believe I have something to offer and experience, and that I believe could be useful, maybe to people who are listening, who are in a band or an artist who maybe might need a little bit of insight for marketing. I'm not saying I'm a guru, but I've got a few years' experience, and I've worked with some big brands, and I've managed to build quite a few, you know, successful marketing campaigns and things like that. So, you know, I believe I've got some kind of knowledge and things I can sort of, you know, let people know about. Yeah. So one of the things I've sort of noticed with the last, how long, I've been in my job for a few months, and I've sort of noticed about building like websites and building sort of the brands and that, is how often on web pages that I go to, and how often especially if it's like a B2B business, or you're doing something maybe within like the tech field, maybe you're more like in the IT industry, it's kind of what the industry I'm in, the amount of, how would I say, jargon and just pointless information on websites is incredible. It's like, you know, there's just so much information on these websites where the content is incredibly not user-friendly. Like, it's hard to understand, it's hard to read. The layout, it also makes things difficult to read. And the other thing is that you just don't have fucking time. And that's kind of when I noticed that, like, when we've been transforming a lot of in-house brands and working on changing sort of structure of the website, it's incredible, like, how well your website can do in terms of, you know, organic performance and getting people on there. If you just clean that shit up, like, if you just give it a good clean and simplify it, like, I think, you know, like, it's interesting with business owners, and not saying web developers don't think about this. I mean, as a marketer, you know, we think about this, and even then, we don't always get it right. But just in my experience, I'm just amazed by how many CEOs or business owners think when people come to their websites, so maybe it's clients or customers, they just believe they've got enough time to read all that shit. Because most CEOs or people in business, or let's say you're in B2B, and maybe you are looking for like, a particular service, let's just say IT as an example, you gotta like, you really gotta simplify it for people because people just don't have time. And like, if they see lots of jargon and complicated words, it's like, oh, they know what they're talking about. And it's like, that's true. But if you have too many, then people get like confused and then they don't really know what you do. And then they're just like, oh, I don't know, this sounds a bit not really up my alley, or like it doesn't really fit what I'm after, even though it might be just the way it's communicated. So it's quite interesting, like looking at all that within like businesses, because a lot of that also applies, I think, to the music industry and how you market yourself as a musician or an artist. Like you really you really do have to kind of like define a little bit of what you're doing, and make sure I guess you're putting your best foot forward in terms of like communicating your brand, because essentially as a musician you are a brand as well, or a band, like you are a brand. And communicating what that is to first time listeners, or people who see a music video, or people who see whatever it is of your brand, it needs to be, I guess, cohesive and reasonably. Doesn't have to be really easy to understand, I guess. It just needs to be understandable, and people know how to navigate to your music, or navigate to your social pages, or to your YouTube, or whatever it may be. So, the same goes for business. Like business is exactly the same. I mean, I used to think marketing was this very like magical world, and it kind of is, but at the same time, it's just following like principles. And I think also like another big thing I've learned is you gotta cater to people who aren't smart, like myself. So catering to people who, don't know anything about your product or business or brand or industry. But then also that's one part. It also depends on how you want to voice it, but more often than not, I think you should be doing that to a point. And you should have it sort of as like a funnel approach. I mean, marketing, we love talking about the marketing funnels and all that. And it should just be like like if you want to read more about it and get more in depth, there's information there for you. But the sort of more snackable, more easy to understand information is at the forefront, because that's how you're gonna sell people on it. If you can make it easy enough for the lowest, I don't know, common denominator to understand, everyone can understand it. And it's just quite amazing, like with a lot of different types of businesses I've worked with, just how hard it is to understand some of those businesses and what they do, even if they are B2B. Like even that, I've been amazed with even some kind of more, how would I say, like government network infrastructure companies, and the way they explain things, they make it like that sounds like a big load of jargon I just said, but essentially, if you want to build like a government network, so essentially you're talking about IT, right? So you're building like server racks and things like that. You can really break that down quite easily to most people, and they just sort of just fuck it up. It's just it's quite amazing, like how many brands and businesses just make their shit really hard to follow and read and to understand. So that's something I've been working a lot on recently. It's just like trying to make things, sort of at face value, very digestible, easy to read, snackable, and then you make things more like, elaborate, detailed. If I guess a user on a website or whoever's looking at your product or brand is interested. So that's something I've been delving into quite a lot of recently. And also just having everything just linked together really nicely, in terms of having your website so easy to navigate. so easy to navigate, including like your navigation bar at the top of the website to the footer at the bottom, having all your services available. And the other big thing, I might do something more about SEO, and this probably comes into it, but just the amount of websites, and even some of the ones I've been working on, where it was just really difficult to contact, or it would be difficult to find how to get in touch with a business, which is obviously what they want. So that's something else I kind of got baffled by a bit, was just how sometimes businesses and brands just make it difficult to get in touch with them, even though that's how they make their leads and their sales. I mean, it baffles me, I tell you that. But, obviously maybe having like a strong brand presence in another way, or word of mouth, there's all that to take into consideration as well. But I've kind of been blown away by that, as well. Yeah. And so I guess those are kind of the main things I've been like looking at on a very basic level of like of a business online, like just the image to the cohesiveness, the site structure, your navigation bar to your content, to your calls to actions, your links to then your footers. That's kind of your basics sort of stuff, and your functionality. And then, of course, there's also the graphic design, having really easy to read images that, again, like people can just understand relatively what that is straight off the bat. And also humanizing your website as well. So this is kind of probably a funny one to maybe some people, but having people on your website, ideally if they're in your business, is even better. Having too many stock photos is also a bit shit, but it's this interesting balance of like, you want to humanize it a bit, but you obviously don't want to have like just all these people everywhere and it looks kind of random. But if you have no people on your website, then again, it kind of gives this idea of like, is this even like a real business? Am I being scammed? And that's something that goes through my head, and I've had just more discussions with others, and they kind of agree on that. Depending on like, there's this weird balance of having people, but not having too many people, and making it not look too stock photo like as well. Yeah. And the other one as well, but then the other thing that gets interesting, I find, is like videos on websites. So everyone's all about video, right? Even like we'll talk about music on this podcast, and video. But with businesses and brands, it's like, if you have videos everywhere on your website, your webpage is going to take fucking ages to load. And a lot of people, including myself, when I look at like a brand or a business, or I'm looking at something online, unless it's a music video and something like that, I don't really want to watch a video unless I'm kind of more at like part 2 of my my journey on the brand's website. So I don't want to see a video when I land on a website. Some people might disagree with that, but I don't think it's a great thing to have straight off the bat. It's again like, talking about having more content and more detailed information about what your brand or business is selling, or the services or the products. The video can kind of be associated with that. And I've seen some businesses be very successful. I remember I worked in my old company. I had like they were a pool and spa business, and they had their products, like an e-commerce website. You buy like a spa cleaner, or you buy like, I don't know, some pool cleaner liquid, and then they have a video of showing you how to apply it, as well as having the instructions right there for you as well. But they have that for you on the product. They don't have like, shit littered around the website. It's really easy to watch and to, consume that content related with that product. And they did really, really well. I mean, they were a very successful client. They had a very good website. It was pretty successful. I think there was a bit of struggle during COVID from what I remember, but, summer months came along and they just, clean up regardless. Pun intended. So, yeah, being simple and cohesive, and content is king. I mean, that's always the saying that gets thrown around, especially in SEO, but also massively just with web development, and just having organic presence, organic ranking. with your brand's website. It's just incredibly important. Something else, I think I talked about this with Tim maybe when he was on here. I'm not too sure. By the way, if anyone doesn't know who that is, he's a good friend of mine, but he's also a marketing manager and very smart boy. And I think we were talking about with SEO how you have to find this balance between humans using the website and Google crawl bots, because if you want to make like the perfect SEO website, it's going to be one page. You know, like you'll have one page with everything on your website, or, you know, the main theme of the website, and that's it. And that's not really that intuitive for users, really. You know, users need to, you know, if you want to buy something, unless it's a B2C, you might know exactly what you want. Maybe you don't mind. But if it's more like a B2B, or like it's leads, or like a service-based industry, you know, you kind of want more of a process to go through. Otherwise, it just feels a bit, I don't know, again, feels like a scam, or feels like something dodgy, or you feel a bit uneasy about it. So we were talking about that, which I found pretty interesting. And then another thing I've been doing at the moment, which again is incredible with a lot of businesses that don't do this, is their Google My Business profile. The amount of people who don't set that up, who don't have their business's location listed on Google, and don't have like their opening hours, don't have their phone number, who don't have like photos of, sorry, I think I already said that, sorry, photos of the location, the website address, allowing all the reviews and ratings to be seen and shown for that brand as well. Like that's also, I know some people hide those bad reviews. You shouldn't do that. Even if it's like and if it's not a great review, I mean, it just, you know, we're not all perfect. And I think it's important for businesses to show, and this is also said within like SEO as well, like the perfect, from what I remember, I mean, this was probably like a year ago, so I'm assuming it probably still stands. The perfect rating on Google is like a 4.4 or like a 4.3, I think. It's not 5. And if you have like a really high rating, like 5, everyone's like, oh, people just been on here and 5-starring it, it's all bullshit. But then I think if you have a rating below 3-star, people have questions, you know? So about a 4.2 to 4.4. I think it's a 4.3, 4.4, but it's 4.2 to 4.4 from what I remember as being like the ideal rating on your Google My Business. And just filling out all those details, you know, just making it super easy for people to know where your business is, what the website is, having, you know, the services listed of what you do, having a phone number up there, having your opening hours, you know, all that shit just makes things real smooth. And I think you'd be surprised at these. They sound like common sense, but it's incredible with how many businesses and places just don't do it. Yeah, so that's something else that's been a really big thing I've been doing in my work as well, but also I've just noticed across the board of businesses. Yeah, so what have we covered? We'll cover kind of like site structure, web development, kind of like a web page structure, to then looking at also, you know, Google My Business and validating, you know, the parts of what you need online for a business, for legitimacy with your online presence, essentially. But there's so many factors of, you know, online marketing and digital branding. You know, you've obviously got, what we've touched on a bit, is the SEO, search engine optimization, having, you know, your brand seen organically on Google or Bing or whatever search you're using. And that's something else that I wanted to touch on, was Google is obviously still the biggest search engine and will be for a while. But one thing I don't think Google are doing as well as like Microsoft and Bing is the AI part. I've used Bard before. I don't know if anyone has used, you know, so it's like ChatGPT but for Google. But with Microsoft and Bing, they use a part of ChatGPT for the Microsoft AI, the Bing AI. But Bing AI is really, really good. And I've been using it a lot for kind of, you know, helping me generate ideas and just smashing out some content that I just paraphrase and change up. It's really good for that. and it's just really fast and it makes things real easy. You got to obviously give it a few prompts to kind of get to where you want in terms of your content, but still really, really good. So yeah, that's been really cool. But I see now, and obviously we've had Alexa around for a while and people asking questions on search engines, but now like often people and users are going to be using these chatbots to ask questions, which then takes them to exactly the website or what it is that they want. I can't remember what is that Google SGE. I don't really know enough about it, but I think that's sort of along those lines of basically having your SEO or your website basically aligned with the chat experience of Google or Microsoft, so your website gets picked up with the recommendations, or it gets picked up with whatever the search, I guess the search question is for these AI chatbots. So that's something else that's definitely been talked about in the marketing world at the moment, which, yeah, I don't know how long that'll take to come to fruition, but these things creep up, bro. They creep up super fast. AI is only AI. We love talking about it, especially in the business world. AI is a hot topic as always. Are they going to take us over? Are we going to live in the iRobot movie? Is Will Smith going to slap his iRobot? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, it's a great tool I'm not going to go on about AI. What the fuck am I doing? But it's just anyway, back to the search engine part, which is what I wanted, what we're focusing on with AI, is that more businesses now, it's gonna change again. Rather than just being about SEO and Google search and keywords, it's going to be more, we're already seeing long tail questions in Google. I mean, I ask Google for shit all the time, and we all do. But there's going to be more of that with these AI bots. So in the marketing world, it's about businesses trying to keep up with those requests and those long tail key questions, I suppose you call them. Yeah. But yeah, one thing I'm keen to talk about more on this podcast and delve into is a bit more of some of these like technical marketing aspects. I'm still always learning. I've only been in the industry. Well, I mean, technically I've been in the industry probably for 2.5 years, but I've been working on, when I was doing the marketing experience, I was doing all my marketing on my own, including all the ads and social media, Google ads, website building with Squarespace. I've been doing this for about 3.5 years. So yeah, I mean, I'm still not as experienced as some, but I definitely, have been in the field a bit, and I believe I just have, like I said at the beginning, I just believe I've got some stuff I reckon could maybe be helpful or insightful to people who are interested in maybe understanding digital marketing or understanding online activity, or like what they need to do to boost their leads or sales or brand awareness, or just get their shit up online in general. So that's kind of what I want to help out with. I think going forward, I would like to cover maybe a bit more in depthly on SEO with kind of what I know. More my specialty is SEM, which is the search engine marketing. So that's more like your Google ads or Microsoft ads. Social media, I'm not bad on. I mean, I'm okay. I definitely would say it's something that can always be better. But I would say meta advertising, your Facebook, Instagram ads. I haven't actually advertised on TikTok before. The kind of stuff I do. I mean, the podcast goes up on there on TikTok, but advertising, like paid advertising, I just don't really see it being that worth it at the moment. But that might change. And then using Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, which is in that meta social advertising, and LinkedIn. I was like, what's the other big one? LinkedIn. So that's all, can you B2B networking, which is really effective, but you do have to, that's very like, you got to do a lot of, connecting and chatting and, sort of schmoozing, which I don't really like doing that. Personally, I'm not a sales guy. That's when you get a good salesperson to come in and follow up the leads and do all the cold calling and shit. Fuck that. I ain't doing that. But yeah, so I think we'll do a bit more, coverage of that. And then something else other aspects I've been getting into is more email marketing using Zoho campaigns, which has been really cool. And I've already been doing a bit of reporting in the past. And by reporting, I mean tracking website activity, Google Analytics, and then using the Google Search Console, amongst other SEO tools, SEMrush, also conducting like SEO audits, SEMrush, Sitebulb, and then amongst all the other tools. And there's so many SEO tools, it's ridiculous. We'll be here forever listing them all. And then also using all these reports to then kind of showcase it in a way, in a dashboard type sort of setting, using Looker Studio, which was Data Studio, and just makes it easier for clients to understand that their goals are being reached. Again, we can cover that a bit more later, but yeah, I think that's just really important. Just make things easy. Just make it easy. People pay for a service. You do your best to try and get it. You want to be honest and transparent, but people just talk shit. Oh, we're transparent. It hardly ever happens. So you want to make sure that you're honest, you're transparent, and that you do the best you can, and then that you report on what the client wants. And, you might fail, you might do good. I mean, that's life, isn't it? And that's the thing in business, is that people like to twist and talk shit and kind of manipulate, and there's a lot of that goes on. But you don't need to be like that. I think if you do some ethical marketing and honesty is the best policy. I really believe that's the way forward with business. But a lot of people don't, and a lot of people fuck each other over and steal, and I really despise that. But it's unfortunately, that is a part of our world. So keep an eye out as well. Don't trust sales. You can trust some sales, but you do have to be a bit wary, because all they're after is commission and making that sale, right? They'll say fucking anything to get you to pay for it. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening, who's tuned in. Not really, did something a bit different today, but yeah, I mean, again, if people make it this far in the podcast, which I appreciate, if you've listened to my ramblings, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, or leave a comment. Let me know. I'm trying some stuff out. I'm trying to kind of explore different ways of doing the podcast and having different topics and cool things to talk about, and not just rambling on about things. Not because I don't know about them, but trying to also maybe provide some insight for people who might be listening. I think it'd be pretty cool, and try and do it in a fun and entertaining way where it doesn't really feel like hard work. So yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. I do have a guest coming up, another musician, quite a cool band, something quite different. I like a cool sound, so excited to bring them on. And yeah, I'm excited to be doing these podcasts once every 2 weeks. It feels much better for my lifestyle, and it's easier to manage. But like I said, if I have back-to-back guests, and my schedule allows me to release podcasts every week, I will be doing that. But regarding when I have these solo sessions, I won't be releasing them every week. It'll be once every 2 weeks. So that's kind of what we're looking for going forward, like I said in the previous podcast about changing. Thank you again, guys, for listening, and that'll be me. We'll cover, I think after the music guest, we will then move into having the SEO, SEM, and other marketing goodness. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.